Hi, I'm Midge Shoemaker, and this is day 24 of my 100 days of making YouTube videos and gratitude lists. So, yay for day 24. Um, and today I've been struggling a little bit with myself again. I find it frustrating how easily I can slip back into old habits and old thinking. And right now I'm struggling with the whole people pleasing thing because, as I mentioned before, I sent my book out to some people, and I'm surprised that I already have some comments back. Um, so that kind of threw me for a loop a little bit. And then I was reading some comments today, and I was feeling like I needed to be a people pleaser and rewrite my whole book to please somebody. And I was like, I can't rewrite my whole book. I mean, I know I have to rewrite my book. That's part of the writing process. I know that there's going to be changes I need to make based on comments that I receive from people, but I also need to take those comments with, I guess, what you call it, with a grain of sand, where I have to evaluate it based on my book, based on who I think is going to read my book, based on what my writing and knowledge skills and things are as to whether or not I actually have the capabilities to write my book that way. Because my brain works a certain way and I can't make it function a different way. And obviously, different people have different styles of writing that they like to read or different types of book that they like to read. And I didn't verify to make sure everyone that I sent my book out to was interested in the same genre of book that I'm writing. And I think they're a little older than the age group in which that I'm writing to, or whatever. I don't know. But I mean, I write a lot like I talk, and I write a lot of conversation and a lot of feelings, and that's just how I am. I'm very very simple, and I don't use a lot of big words, so my characters don't use a lot of big words. So it's just anyway. But I was thinking about it today, and I was messaging a friend about it, and I didn't like his response because he was giving me advice. I didn't want advice. I think I wanted reassurance that I did a good job writing my book, that I'm okay as a writer, and all of these things. And I was just getting really uh, frustrated and depressed. And I was like, I was so happy yesterday. I don't want to lose that. I want my little gratitude thing back. So I wrote in my journal instead of, today before I went to work or done anything. I haven't even gone to work yet, to be honest. But I did that because I needed help processing things. And I was just really grateful for the insights that God just popped into my head. And comparing my writing to C.S. Lewis, which I thought is amazing because I think he's a great author, wrote a whole bunch of books. Mostly I just know the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe series, but that's what popped into my head. And I was like, I don't know that my writing is as good as his, but maybe the comparison, like writing styles, might be a little similar. I don't know. I'd have to go back and reread his books again. But it was kind of a nice thought to enter my head, and it made me feel a little bit better about my writing style. And then I got thinking about the first book that I wrote, The Fall of Espenglanja, and how I tried to rewrite it to meet everybody's ideas. And I wrote the first chapter, I sent it to my brother, and I sent it to my sister, and then I tried to rewrite it to what my brother said, and then I rewrite it to what my sister said. And I swear I rewrote that first chapter like 20 times, to the point that I was so sick of the first chapter of that book. I'm like, I don't care anymore. I don't care. And I finally gave up and just wrote the whole book for myself so I could say that I wrote a book. And I did that. That was great. I did that several years ago. And now, obviously, I've gone back and had to learn how to rewrite that book. And because I didn't understand how to write to readers, I didn't understand how to describe things. And the criticism or suggestions that I was getting from other people were very vague. They were not detailed enough for me to know what to change in my book. So I was playing the guessing game when it came to rewriting things. And it occurred to me as I was journaling and praying, and then realized I needed to make a YouTube video. I'm like, I'm going to share all the stuff I'm learning about myself in my YouTube video. But I was just thanking God. I was just really grateful that I had the opportunity to write Lanoya, because in the process of trying to figure out how to rewrite The Fall of Espenglanja, which is a daunting task, to take out characters' points of views, to add more paragraphs, to it's a lot of work to rewrite that. It's a 240-page book. It was 24 chapters because I thought every chapter needed to be about 10 pages long, and it needed to be a long book. So I've learned differently since then. But I'm grateful that I've had the opportunity to write Lanoya and the Teachers of Powers. I'm grateful that I got to figure out how to write from one character's point of view without having to go through the stuff that I'd already written, without having to rewrite what was already done. Because sometimes I think that's a little bit harder for me because I read through it and think, oh, this is really good, but it no longer fits. So writing Lanoya and the Teachers of Powers has given me an opportunity to learn how to write to readers, to discover my writing style, to discover a way to learn how to write things without being too repetitious, without using the same words, like having to come up with new words to describe the same thing because I'm very boring. I just want to use the same word. I'm like, the same word, it's the same word. I'm like, but there's so many different words, like so many ways to say smile, grinned. I can't think of any others. I mean, grimace would be like a crazy smile. I don't know, but curled the lips up and an evil smile. All kinds of different descriptive terminologies. Different ways to cry, different ways for the heart to beat, different ways to just describe things is interesting. Different ways to refer to the same thing, like a painting, a drawing, a sketch. A work of art, just different ways to refer to, or, put it on the canvas or whatever, canvas, tapestry, cloth. So having to use different words so that I don't keep repeating the same word over and over again, even though it means the same thing. So it's been fun having to learn how to use a thesaurus and learning other words that I can use in place of things. And I'm sure I'm still very boring. I feel like my writing is quite on an elementary level, so elementary kids would be able to read my book and understand them, which is probably a good thing, except that maybe the context of my book is probably too old for elementary school. So it's probably a little dumbed down for people that are older. But I just don't have the sophisticated vocabulary or writing for something older, which I'm okay with. That's fine. That's my writing style for now. And that may grow and that may change the more I get to write and the more I get to practice. But I'm just grateful I've had this opportunity to write this book, to create something brand new that hasn't been playing in my head for like 20 years, because honestly, some of the story ideas that I have for my future books have been playing in my head for like 20 years. So they're a little more set in stone. They're not as flexible as Lanoya and the Teachers of Powers. And honestly, when I started writing Lanoya as the character, I pictured her as being a little bit more timid and shy. And now she's actually more bold and obnoxious and, very vocal. So not quite the character I originally imagined her to be, but she wasn't like set in stone as far as her personality went. So it was nice to be able to mold that, to watch it change as I wrote the book, and to know that I can be flexible too, that I can take comments that people have to me, questions that they ask. I mean, one comment somebody gave me was a question, and I was like, oh, I thought I explained that in the book. I guess I did not explain that in the book, so I need to go back and explain that in the book, because that might be something important for people to know or to understand. So that's a good thing. I need those kinds of questions. I need those kinds of insights, because again, for me, I know the stories in my head. I know the characters, and it's me trying to communicate that to the readers, to other people. And I don't have the best communication skills. So this is teaching me how to communicate and teaching me like what things need to be in the book and what things don't need to be in the book. So I am once again feeling a little bit better and looking forward to future comments from other people, and remembering, I just had to remind myself to, it's a 12-step saying, but take what you like and leave the rest, because not everybody can or will like what I write, and that's okay. And I just needed to remember that I don't have to be a people pleaser. I don't have to rewrite my entire book to other people's ideas, because if I do that, one, I will rewrite it and try to be someone or something, or write in forms that aren't comfortable for me. And eventually my book will not resemble anything that is me or what I originally wanted it to be, because I'm trying to write to like 10 different people's ideas. And the next thing you know, I will be frustrated and totally give up, and I will never get a book published. And that is not my goal. That is not my goal. So I am just grateful to God for helping me to step back, to breathe, to remember to write in my journal, to help me process things, to not take things personally, to know that yes, I am still learning, and that I'm grateful I've had the opportunity to learn to become a better writer with this book, and hopefully be able to get it, fine-tuned and edited and published. And it's probably not going to be the most popular or the best book out there, but I think it's still going to be a good book. I still think it's something that a lot of people will like to read, I hope. Probably more teenagers, young adults type kids, maybe a few elementary kids, but probably not like little, probably, older, junior high age maybe would be about the age for my book, I think. And that's okay. That's that's okay, because that's probably where my writing style is at. That's probably where I peaked at writing. It's probably where I quit writing because I lost confidence in my abilities to do things and felt pressure to be better or different than I was. And I didn't know how to be better or different because I wasn't given detailed information on how to change things. I was just given suggestions like be more descriptive. Be more descriptive about what? I have no idea. What description do you want where? What can I be more descriptive about? I thought I was very descriptive. I could rewrite my entire book just, writing description, but then there wouldn't be any conversation and there wouldn't be any point to the story, and the main character would be the background. And that would be very boring to most people, I think. So I don't know. I really don't know. But I think I left a lot of background in my book to the imagination. It's not like a movie or a TV show where the background's all filled in. It's more like a green screen in the background, and you have the characters talking, and you have an idea that there's a castle or there's a chapel or there's trees and paths, and then you kind of get to fill in the details yourself as to the colors and the ambiance and whatever you want it to be, how you imagine those places or locations to be based on what you've seen or what you've read. And I'm okay with that kind of thing. And I think that's kind of how C.S. Lewis wrote his books. I remember growing up watching the BBC versions of The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, and Susan had blonde hair. She always had blonde hair. And then they came out with those newer versions when I was older, the Hollywood versions. I don't know which company came out with it, so I don't want to say. But they did The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, and Susan had brown hair. And I watched it in the theater, and I was like, why does she have brown hair? She has blonde hair. She always has blonde hair. And then I went back and reread The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. C.S. Lewis never mentioned what color her hair was. Like, not once. There's no mention of what color any of the children's hair is. Like, that was not an important point in the book. He doesn't say what color beavers are either. He just assumes people know what a beaver looks like, other than they're walking and talking animals. So it's like, huh. And they're walking through snow-filled forest, and that's all you get. It doesn't have the description of each individual tree or how many trees or what the path looks like. It's all of that background stuff is left to the imagination. It's in a forest. You know what a forest looks like. You have an idea what a forest looks like. So it made me feel better about my writing style and leaving some of those details out of my book. And it does leave things to the imagination for people as they read it. But I also realized that in my head, all of my stories are based on conversations, the conversations that people have, the interactions that people have, the relationships that they have with each other. That's what my stories are about. It's the growth. It's how they learn things. It's what they learn. It's the conversations, the interactions, the relationships they have, the ones that work, the ones that don't. Those kinds of things is what my book is about. It's not about the location. it's not about I guess what color the forest is, what color the trees are. I don't actually know, to be perfectly honest. Somebody would ask me that. I'm like, I don't know. I guess I could make something up. I could go back through and make it up. I'm really good at making things up. That's not a problem for me, but that's not how my brain works. So that's not how my writing works. So I hope that there's people out there that when they read my book, they're okay with the focusing on the relationship and the feelings. And I mean, obviously there's some details as to where people are at or what they're wearing and things like that. But those are details that I feel like are important. And obviously if people need more details, I will get more comments, and hopefully they'll be a little bit more detailed or specific. I need specific information, like more description in this paragraph, or what does this mean in this particular page or something. Like I need those kinds of detailed comments in order to actually make changes in my book or to make changes in my writing. And I'm grateful that I can see that I can learn that about myself, and to realize that I can't take a generalized statement like it needs more description and rewrite my entire book trying to be more descriptive, because I have no idea what description is lacking, what locations it needs to be. I can't work like that. That's not who I am. But I feel like I've done that my whole life, where someone says something and I try to change my entire personality to fit whatever the thing it is that they're telling me. Like, oh, you're boring, be more exciting. Okay, what's more exciting? Let me try to figure that out. You're too obnoxious. Okay, how do I not be obnoxious? What am I doing that's obnoxious? I have no idea. I talk too much. Okay, I just won't say anything then. But I don't know. I can't not say anything. I talk too much. That's just who I am. I give up. I just always talk and over talk, and I overanalyze everything. It's insane. I need to learn how to turn off my brain sometimes, and I need to not take everything personally. I know that, yes, this is a learning process for me, and this is going to be an interesting learning process for me. And it's been kind of a fun process for me, and it's exciting to see how my writing has changed in Lanoya and the Teachers of Powers versus what I wrote for The Fall of Espinglanja. And it gives me hope that I can maybe rewrite The Fall of Espinglanja to make it something that's better and less confusing to the reader, and obviously to myself, because apparently the last time I tried to read through it, there were things that were confusing. Like I understood what was going on, but I just didn't understand who was actually speaking. And I was like, oh, good. I have no idea who's talking in the book, so nobody else reading it's going to have any idea either. So obviously I feel like I've learned a lot in my writing, and I'm grateful to my mentor, Betsy Love, and for her help in learning how to write my books. So that's been a fun little adventure for me, and I'm grateful that I was able to send it out to so many people so that I can get comments back from other people, so I can get a more generalized idea of, I want an overall idea if people like my book and my writing style, for one, and for two, I need some detailed information to see, what I need to fix, like actual questions like, what does this mean? Which, I can do that. I can go back and fix that. I can add that. I can change that. That's something I can do. But generalized comments, I can't do anything with that, and I can't beat myself up over that. And I can't try to rearrange my entire book and my entire thought process for things like that. That's just not who I am. And that's okay. I don't have to change who I am. And I'm just really grateful today that God reminded me that I don't have to change who I am, and that other people have written books in a similar fashion to the way that I wrote them. And I was just grateful for the comparison to C.S. Lewis, because I'm like, wow, he's an amazing author and written a ton of stuff. And so, and his books got turned into movies too, so, and TV series or whatever, I don't know, but they all got turned into movies, or at least the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe series did, several versions of them actually, so, which is cool. So I know that doesn't mean my book will get turned into a movie. It's probably not going to be that good or that amazing in comparison, but it just made me feel better about myself and my writing style, and I needed that. And I'm grateful that God knows what I need, and that he helped me to work through my anxiety over all of this, and to know that it's okay, and that I can fix things in my book. I will fix things in my book, because I know it's not perfect, but I also know that I don't have to write my book to any one individual, because I can't please everyone. And if I try to rewrite my book to just one person, then maybe that one person will be happy, But I probably won't be happy with my work, and the rest of the world probably won't be happy with my work. So in order for it to be my best work, it has to be me. It has to be a part of me. It has to be how my brain works, how my writing style is. And obviously not everyone is going to like that, and that's okay. So, and that's good, because now I'm learning like who I can send my book to, who likes my style and who can help me improve it, versus who just, likes different kinds of books. So that will also teach me in the future to be more careful about who I send my books out for beta reading purposes. But it's okay. I'm still grateful for my friends. I'm grateful for the comments. And obviously, I wasn't expecting comments back today because, I mean, it is a 22 chapter book. People have lives. It is only 77 pages. So some people, like my brothers, can read it really fast in like one day. And someone like me would probably still take 2 or 3 days to read through my own work because of, time constraints, and because I'm a really slow reader and I'm a really slow writer. So, and when I read through my book, I feel like I have to like fix it or edit it in the process. So it takes me even longer, which, I mean, and people reading through my book now, I hope they're taking the time to read it and comment on things that work for them or don't work for them, so that I can get an idea as to what I need to improve. And I'm grateful that I can learn from that. I'm grateful I have this book and this opportunity to learn how to write and perfect my writing style, so that I can go through and rewrite the other books that I started. And, I can use Linoy and the Teachers of Powers as a comparison, as a guide to those books to make them better. And hopefully, as each book comes out, I will become a little bit better, and you will see my writing improve. Just like hopefully, as I make these YouTube videos every day, you see my attitude improving and my skills, things that I'm learning how to do, getting better. So I'm really grateful today that I could go from feeling despondent and wanting to be a people pleaser and feeling like I'd failed, to realizing that I once again have value with who I am and what I'm doing is good enough. And that yes, I can learn from other people and their comments, but I don't have to change everything to please everyone. And I can't change who I am for someone else. And I don't have to rearrange my entire book for one person's comment over one person's comment. But I can take a look at their comment. I can go through my book again, and I can see where I might be lacking in something to make it better. So that is something that will be helpful for me, especially the comments that are detailed or specific to locations in my book or to a specific thing about my book, because that makes it easier for me to figure out how to communicate. So I guess I need specific communication, and I need to learn how to communicate more specifically. So more things for me to learn, but I'm grateful that I can be open to learning them. And I'm grateful that I can learn to let go and not take it personally and not feel like I failed because it wasn't like the most amazing book ever. Because in my head, that's kind of the reaction I'm hoping for. It's very unrealistic. I know it's very unrealistic. I just keep hoping people will write back and say, oh, it's perfect, we love it. But I'm like, I know it's not perfect. So I wouldn't believe anybody that said that anyway. That's just, the fantasy version of my head, or the when it's actually published version, which, I mean, it'll be great when it's published, just to have a book published, but it will probably still be something that's not perfect, and that's okay. And maybe the next one will be a little bit better, and the next one a little bit better. So, because I hope that I keep growing and improving, and I'm sure that my writing will continue to grow and improve the more that I do it. And so there's that. So that's my learning for today, and I am just grateful for those insights and for that understanding, and just grateful for God to help me to see myself the way that He sees me, and to help me know that I'm okay, and that I can work through this, and that yes, I can make some improvements and adjustments to my book. I just don't have to throw the whole thing out and start all over, which is what I was feeling like I was gonna have to do, and I'm like, I can't do this. So I go to the extremes. I know that I'm very extremist, and I wish that I would stop doing that. But it's going to take time for me to make those changes and to make it permanent. But I'm grateful that I'm not spending my entire day being depressed and discouraged because I, wasn't the response that I wanted, which I do a lot of. I just let myself get discouraged and be like, hey, I'm done. I can't do it because it's not the response I wanted. And life is all about how you handle plan B. It's not about plan A. And I knew when I sent this out that people were going to have comments and they weren't going to like everything about my book. So I just needed to remind myself of that, and then I need to figure out what comments are helpful that I can use to improve my book, and what comments are just people's opinions that, I can't do anything about, and that's just, and that's okay too. So, but I don't have to take that personally, and I don't have to feel like I failed because their opinion differs from mine, and I don't have to make them see it from my point of view either. So I'm grateful that I can see that I can learn that, and that I can be okay with that. And that is a miracle, and that is a wonderful gift from God. And I hope that this is helping people watching this to know that if you pray to God, He can help you through whatever and help you feel and see your worth and your value. And that who you are is okay, the way you are is okay, and you don't need that outside approval from someone else, because that's my problem. I seek the outside approval, and then I don't get the approval that I want, and then I get all upset and bent out of shape, and then realize that I can't please everyone and can't change who I am. So it's a learning process for me, but I'm grateful that I can see my cycle and that I can learn from it, and that I don't have to let it ruin the rest of my day. So I intend to go about having a great rest of today, and I hope you guys can do the same. So thank you.